Before we get into today's video, let me get this off the chest real quick, because a lot of people were hitting me up about this. Like, Ryan, what are you doing? You trying to convert us? No, 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 no. My last video goes as follows, man. I was just showing you, what I'm saying, that all these people who keep hyping up these new consoles or hyping up these consoles for doing X amount of things, this is what happens when they're on a different platform like PC. Now, Microsoft, they have released all their games on PC. This is nothing new. But that video was to educate the masses and let you know that, listen, those games are running far more, like, beyond anything you could think of on the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X cannot achieve that level of performance, okay? Now, again, was that video made to slander the Xbox? No. It was just proving a point. People think PC, when it comes to these games, that a PC really isn't doing much different, and that video was to inform the masses that they are completely wrong. On PC, we're doing ridiculously, a lot of things are happening with these games on PC. Shout out to y'all that called out the VSync issue. I forgot about that. I forgot to turn that off. So shout out to y'all. Thank you. Anyway, what am I talking about? Let's get into this. So I didn't really, I kind of told people I wasn't going to talk about PS5 and the new Xbox, but then this rumor hit me up, this rumor just fell on me real quick, and I was like, let me just go ahead and cover it. Shout out to Fox Games UK as well, he actually covered this as well. But, yeah, let's see what the fuss is about, shall we? So, we got a new particular piece of hardware here. Now, this particular hardware is a project. It basically, if I'm not mistaken, they said it's basically a PS4 Pro with a new AMD next-gen CPU. This particular project is using, Ryzen tech, obviously. They're pushing some really good performance out of this, and the crazy thing is it has half the cores. So this is going to be interesting to see what this is about. Let's check it out. AMD has collaborated with hardware manufacturer Hungston Super, now that's how I'm going to pronounce it, or Hongshan Super, excuse me, to create custom console hardware for the Chinese market. And first impressions suggest a hardware specification similar to PlayStation 4 Pro in terms of GPU, compute power, but combined with next-gen Ryzen processor architecture. New hardware set for a Chinese launch in the next month actually takes the form of a Windows PC, with the dedicated console using custom OS due later this year. But this initial Windows PC release will have a hardware makeup quite unlike any other. The semi-custom silicon takes the form of a fully integrated SoC, system on a chip, basically, combining x86 Ryzen processor cores with AMD Radeon graphics. In this case, RX Vega technology with 24 compute units at 1.3 gigahertz for 3.99 teraflops of GPU power. Combining Ryzen and Vega into a single chip is nothing new. AMD has already done it with its excellent Raven Ridge Ryzen 3 2200G and Ryzen 5 2400G APU products. However, the Super project is much more console-like in its core hardware design, and it will clearly be more capable. For a start, unlike Raven Ridge, DDR4 RAM system RAM isn't used. Instead, the new processor is connected to 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, just like the PS4 and Pro. This offers a vast increase in memory bandwidth, eliminating the primary graphics bottleneck AMD's APU suffer from. The use of GDDR5 means that the Super project can basically double Raven Ridge's compute power with far less possibility of hitting memory bandwidth limits. Again, similar to PS4 and Pro, the GDDR5 memory controller is integrated into the chip itself. Further specs haven't been revealed so far, but with 8 gigabytes confirmed and 256-bit memory bus, again similar to PS4 Pro and PS4, seem likely. No specs for memory bandwidth have been revealed, but to give you some idea of the window available, PS4 Pro delivers 218 gigabytes of bandwidth, while a top-end GDDR5 solution as found in NVIDIA's GTX 1070 offers 256 gigabytes. This figure could prove crucial to overall performance, as unlike a traditional PC with separate CPU and GPU, AMD's integrated processor need to share bandwidth between both components. Now, here is a little picture here. I'm going to show that to you guys right now. This right here is showing off, how they're comparing so far. Basically, the one you're looking for is the Super, which is on the far left. The Super is using a Ryzen CPU. As you clearly see, it has half the cores. It runs at 3.0 gigahertz. The GPU is at 24 compute units at 1300 megahertz, with the GPU compute at 3.99 teraflops. So there you guys go. And obviously it's using GDDR5 RAM, the same that's in the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro and PS4. So there you have it in front of you. Now they do go off a little further here, and they actually do go a little more detail here. But as you can see from the spec table, Super's processor achieves pro-like graphics capabilities in a very different way from the PlayStation 4 hardware. Sony's custom processor effectively doubles the base PS4's compute unit count and adds on a small amount of frequency, delivering 4.2 teraflops from 36 compute units at 911 megahertz. Obviously, they say update there because they actually put the wrong thing, but they fixed that. The new chip runs faster at 1300 megahertz, but only features 24 compute units. It's also based on the latest AMD Vega design, whereas the Pro GPU is effectively an enhanced version of the original PlayStation 4 graphics core, with a number of additional features brought over from AMD's later Polaris and Vega designs, although offering less overall compute power. A 75 megahertz overclock on the Super Vega core would deliver the same 4.2 teraflops, assuming overclocking is available on the new part. Regardless, we're looking forward to testing this new product for a number of reasons. First of all, this console generation has been defined to a certain extent by relatively weak CPU power. The Super machine could offer some illumination of what kind of experience developers could have delivered if more CPU processing power was available. To give you some idea of what might be possible here, I produced an in theory piece later year on what a 3.0 gigahertz quad core Ryzen processor could deliver, and there were some fascinating results. Our guesswork on frequency turned out to be an actual clocks AMD has delivered in the new processor. But to cut a long story short, the Super PC should be able to run a lot of 30 frames per second console titles at twice the frame rate. I'm already impressed by this right now, just from that statement alone, that it can run it at twice the frame rate. The second reason why I really want to test out the Super PC is that it would finally answer the question of what kind of experience we get if AMD released a Windows PC based on the kind of integrated console design that has defined the current console generation. There's a reason why AMD's lineup of desktop PC APUs are typically backed by entry-level GPUs. The memory bandwidth simply isn't there with standard DDR4 memory to support a more capable graphic solution. Only a custom board with embedded high bandwidth memory could get the job done, and until now, such a solution has never been released. There's a good reason why, of course. You never be able to upgrade anything about it, apart from the storage you attach. However, such a design could open the door to more powerful small form factor PCs. There you guys go. That's what they had to say about that. Wow. And yeah, pretty damn good here. So looking at this, and yes, this is from Engadget, obviously. This is from Engadget. So Engadget's this is backed up by Digital Foundry, but Digital Foundry has been on point, so I can't really call them out on this one. But if they are doing this, if they are partnering with AMD and they're really trying to look for a solution that not only benefits, the performance, like that a lot of us, want the performance for the hardcore type, and as well as give us a good balance between visuals, to show us at least a nice little upgrade, I'm all for it. I really am all for it. Now, this is not bad for a first type of thing. Like this particular PC that they just did with just a upgraded CPU. It's actually not bad. it's not bad. It actually does kind of make me sit back for a second and think about what I said beforehand. Now remember, I said numerous times on this channel, I'm not expecting no massive jump, and I think a lot of us can, all agree that I said this numerous times. Me, my boy Game Forte, obviously Carlos Fernandez, we all said this numerous times. Like, we're not expecting no graphical, or not really graphical, but not actually, we can say that too. We weren't really expecting no huge graphical jump, and the same thing goes for performance. We're not expecting that because we believe that most of the effort will go into the visual presentation rather than the performance category. But from what I'm seeing, and from what I just read, I think we're going to be in the clear. I think Microsoft will definitely follow suit and get whatever deal Sony's working with for AMD, and at least try to get on board with that and have things going. But it's crazy. It really is crazy. Looking at performance though, now they have a chart here. Now this is the performance they got going on here. They showing off a 1060, an RX 580. They showing off the 570 and the Kaby Lakes, obviously. Now, none of these are actually used. This is not actually the project, but these are just frame rates for those. Not even going to show that, but they're actually showing that off. It'll be in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But from what I'm seeing, it's not really bad on that end. But they do go on further a little. They do go on a little further about this. And after that, I'm just going to give you guys my final thoughts. So this is what they had to say on the final piece of this, going on the performance category of this new PC. But how powerful could the new part be in comparison to other PC graphics cards? The Battlefield 1 benchmark above might offer a general ballpark. For desktop readers of this article, click on the... Well, okay, let me skip that because nobody cares. So how are these numbers relevant? Well, AMD has already produced a similar Vega GPU for Intel for its Kaby Lake G project, which I reviewed, a while back. AMD provided a semi-custom GPU that Intel placed alongside one of its own quad-core i7 processors and paired it with a 4GB of H8 M2 memory. It has the same 24 compute units as the Super GPU, but typically runs it at 1190 megahertz. Okay, a touch slower than the Super's 1300. However, when I tested it, I was able to clock it to 1350 megahertz. Memory bandwidth variations may skew the results somewhat, but I would expect the overall takeaway to be similar to what you see above in pure graphics task. A 24 compute CPU compute unit Radeon part at 1300 megahertz should easily outstrip the GTX 1050 Ti and the best Radeon RX 560 variant, but will fall short compared to the mainstream champions GTX 1060, RX 570, and RX 580. That's still a hefty chunk of graphics power though. Battlefield 1 on Kaby Lake G can run locked at 1080p 60 at ultra settings, while reasonable settings tweaks should bring more titles closer to a locked 60. Overall, AMD's latest semi-custom design looks like an absolute fantastic piece of hardware, and it's destined for the Chinese market only. Export options should be available for the curious. Just how much of a game changer could Ryzen be in a console? What if PS4 Pro had integrated AMD's next-gen CPU rather than that sticking with the old Jaguar design? What would it be like to run Windows and its games on an AMD console box? Those questions and many others can be answered by the Super Project, and obviously he said it'll be fascinating when he gets his hands on it. That is pretty interesting. Now, one thing they are talking about this too, though, Windows OS. Now, let's just go ahead and scrap this real quick. If Sony is going to do something like this with AMD, obviously Windows is not going to be on the PlayStation 4. I don't think Sony will be paying Microsoft for no damn Windows OS. I think they're fine with their own OS. I don't think they will actually do it. And the reason why, I mean, let's be real here, they're in competition with one another. I don't think one of them is in the, they're in the business to fatten their own pockets, not to help each other fatten their own pocket. No, they're not going to do that. It sounds cool though, with a PS4 with a Windows OS, but let's be real here, it's not going to happen. PS5 most definitely, I don't see that happen. If it did happen, I would probably like lose my shit. Like, okay, that's crazy. As far as performance though, I mean, it's not looking too bad. It really isn't looking too bad. It's very capable for what I'm looking at. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more. It's definitely one of those things that kind of gets you excited about the hardware, but at the same time, I want to simmer my expectations because I really do not want to go into this super hyped and just to be disappointed. And I think that's fair. Same thing goes for Microsoft and their content. You know what I'm saying? If you're an Xbox dude, you're definitely, you're looking forward to the new Xbox. But at the same time, a lot of us question why after you just got the X. But whatever. That's another video. But the capability of this new, PS5, if this is, the route they want to go with a brand spanking new CPU like this, maybe they want to use, maybe they'll double it up a little bit. Maybe they'll go with the same amount of RAM that's in the Xbox One X. You never know. And there were rumors that it was going to be 10 teraflops, but again, I'm not about to go ahead and say 10, 15. I don't think so. We're just going to have to wait and see what Sony does in the long run to give us our next gen content. This is why it's always safe to just wait until when they start talking about it before we start speculating. I do think that this is cool. It does sound great. I do believe Sony's going to definitely bring it with the PS5. There's a lot of games they're going to deliver. Now, with this particular CPU, though, one thing is certain. One thing is absolutely certain from what I just read. If backwards compatibility is a thing, expect those games to run a lot better. I'm expecting it to run 60 frames per second without a doubt on the newer games. All it would take is the patches and everything of that nature. I'm pretty sure they'll do it. I'm pretty damn sure they'll do it. It should be easy at this point. This CPU is very capable, and this is what they want to do. If this is the base to lead to something better, hey, I mean, this is great. This is definitely going to lead into a better, broader, specs, or really a bigger, broader specifications out there, but also it's going to lead to more things in the future with a lot more possibilities out there for different, particular brands. And I do believe so. Now, they did say this was exclusive to the Chinese market. That's what he said, Chinese market. Okay, so then the odds of this going to the Xbox are very slim. But this doesn't mean that Microsoft went and cut their own deal, maybe to get something made with AMD. I think it would be smart for Microsoft to go with AMD. But then again, Microsoft might create their own. You never know. So I guess that's it. I got really not much to say. I'm definitely interested. I'm interested in hearing more about this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Definitely, if you guys like the video, hit that like button. I do appreciate it. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the channel. And of course, I'll see you guys back here as always here on the channel. Ryan the Professional is out. Deuces.